Tonight, Belize joins the rest of the Commonwealth and the UK in mourning the death of Queen Elizabeth II, who was the longest reigning monarch in British history. She ascended to the throne in 1952 and reigned for 70 years until her death today, Thursday, September 8, 2022. She was 96. An official statement from Buckingham Palace said the Queen died peacefully at Balmoral Castle, her estate in the Scottish Highlands. Her son became Britain's new monarch, King Charles III. In a statement earlier today, the King said, "The death of my beloved mother, Her Majesty the Queen, is a moment of the greatest sadness for me and all members of my family. We mourn profoundly the passing of a cherished sovereign and a much-loved mother. I know her loss will be deeply felt throughout the country, the realms, and the Commonwealth, and by countless people around the world." End quote. In an official statement from the Queen's representative in Belize, Her Excellency Dame Froila Zalam, Governor-General of Belize, expresses deep sorrow and sincerest condolences to the family and friends of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, Queen of Belize, and the 14 other countries in the realm and the head of the Commonwealth. Her statement adds, and we quote, "The Queen ruled for longer than any other monarch in British history, having just celebrated 70 years earlier this year. She was a much-loved and respected figure across the globe. Her extraordinary reign has seen her travel more widely than any other monarch, undertaking many historic overseas visits. Known for her sense of duty and her devotion to a life of service, she has been an important figurehead for the UK and the Commonwealth during times of enormous social change." End quote. The government of Belize today also issued a statement adding, quote, "The Queen has served as Belize's head of state since our independence. Her Majesty has been a source of grace, service, and stability throughout her reign and over decades of profound global tumult and advancement." The statement continues, "The government and people of Belize extend their sincere condolences to the royal family, the Commonwealth, and the realms." End quote. The Prime Minister of Belize, Honorable John Briceño, has ordered that all national flags be flown at half-mast from today until the committal service for Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II on September 18, 2022. The Prime Minister Briceño has also requested the tolling of church bells on Friday morning. The office of the Prime Minister further informs the nation that as a sign of utmost respect and in expression of deepest condolences, the nation will observe an official period of mourning during this time. Opposition leader Honorable Shine Barrow today also joined the government of Belize in expressing sympathies to the royal family, Prime Minister Elizabeth Truss, and the British people on the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. During her almost 70 years on the throne, the Queen visited Belize twice. Her first visit was in 1985, 4 years after Belize had attained political independence. She was welcomed by Belize's first Governor-General, Dame Minita Gordon, at the Philip Goulson International Airport and introduced to then Prime Minister Sir Manuel Esquivel and leaders of government. During her visit, she inspected the Guard of Honor mounted by the Belize Police Force in Belmopan. Following a state dinner at the Government House in Belize City, Her Majesty addressed Belizeans.
Respect for moral and spiritual values and the rule of law have made this country a notable example of how freedom can work in practice. A climate has been created where personal initiative and free choice have become a pattern of life for every Belizean. What you have achieved augurs well for the future development of the nation, but it must be carefully nurtured and strengthened, and then passed on to future generations.
The monarch would return to Belize less than 9 years later in 1994, this time with her husband, Prince Philip. By her second visit, Her Majesty's representative in Belize was Sir Calvin Young, who was knighted on that occasion. Flanked by Prince Philip at her side, the Queen addressed Belizeans from inside the National Assembly.
Many of the changes which we have witnessed are to be applauded and encouraged. Many have helped the disadvantaged to achieve their proper place in society. But some, the increase in crime being an obvious example, have done damage to society, and it is up to us to keep that society strong enough to withstand any assault from whatever quarter. It is never enough to treat symptoms alone. Such measures as the strengthening of law enforcement agencies and criminal justice systems are worthwhile, but we must simultaneously look at the real roots of the disease. That often means a process of honest and sometimes uncomfortable self-examination by a nation as a whole. But Belize is capable of that.
With the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, Belize's magistrates, Supreme and Court of Appeal have been ordered to begin switching over to the name of Belize's new head of state, King Charles III. Effective today, per a notice from the recently appointed Chief Justice Louise Blenman, all court proceedings usually issued in the name of the Queen Regina must now be issued in the name of the King Rex, and oaths and court documents referring to the Queen are to be amended to refer to the King. The demise of the Crown principle posits that the throne is never unoccupied. Upon the Queen's passing, the former Prince of Wales immediately became king, although he will be formally crowned in a ceremony yet to be planned.